The alarm screamed through station harmony at exactly 0300 hours. Ambassador Thelvara jolted awake, her 4 eyes snapping open in panic. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. She rushed to the sleeping chamber. Empty. Both beds were cold. Her children, Kira and Malaz, were gone. "Security!" she shouted into her communicator. "My children are missing." Within minutes, the entire diplomatic wing was in chaos. Guards ran through corridors. Sensors were checked. Video feeds were reviewed. Nothing. The ambassador's children had vanished like smoke. Commander ZYX arrived quickly. His scales turned dark blue with stress. "Ambassador, we've sealed all exits. No one has left the station. Your children must be somewhere inside. They're only 7 cycles old." Thelvara's voice cracked. "They don't know the station. They could be hurt. They could be scared." The search began immediately. Every alien quarter was checked. Storage rooms, recreation areas, maintenance tunnels. Teams searched everywhere. Hours passed. No sign of Kira and Malaz. By hour 6, the Galactic Council was notified. This wasn't just missing children anymore. This was an interstellar incident. The ambassador's offspring, gone from a secure station. Questions were asked. Accusations whispered. Had they been kidnapped? Was this an attack? Some species didn't want peace with humans. Maybe someone wanted to destroy the Alliance. Ambassador Thelvara sat in the command center, watching dozens of screens. Her heart ached. Where were her babies? "Ma'am," a nervous guard approached. "We've searched every section except the human quarters." The room went silent. Every alien I turned to look. The human quarters. That mysterious section where Earth's representatives lived. The place where strange customs happened. Where humans did their bizarre rituals. "We need permission to enter," the guard continued. "Human protocols require." "I don't care about protocols." Thelvara stood up. "My children are missing for 12 hours. Search everywhere. Now!" Commander ZYX nodded slowly. "Send a team to the human dormitory. Be respectful, but search thoroughly." As guards moved toward the human section, no one knew what they would find. No one expected the truth. And no one was prepared for how this discovery would change everything the galaxy thought about humans. The doors to human quarters opened with a soft hiss. The security team moved quietly through the human quarters. Their weapons were ready, but their steps were careful. They didn't want to start a war. They just wanted to find the children. Captain Rodriguez, the human liaison officer, met them at the entrance. She looked confused and sleepy. Her hair was messy, and she wore strange human sleeping clothes. "What's happening?" she asked, rubbing her eyes. "It's 0400 hours. Why is security here?" "Ambassador's children are missing," Commander ZYX explained. "We must search all areas, including here." Captain Rodriguez's eyes went wide. "Missing children? Oh, no. Yes, of course. Search anywhere you need." The team split up. They checked the kitchen, the recreation room, the gym. Nothing. Then they reached the sleeping quarters where human crew members rested. "We need to check inside," the guard captain said quietly. Rodriguez nodded and opened the first door. Inside, a human male named James was sleeping. Alone. Normal. Second door. A human female named Sarah. Also alone. Also normal. Third door. Lieutenant Chen's room. Rodriguez opened it slowly. "Try not to wake anyone." Then everyone froze. There, on Lieutenant Chen's bed, was a sight no one expected. The human was sleeping on his side. Curled against his chest was little Kira, the ambassador's daughter. Her small arms hugged his shirt. She was breathing softly, peacefully, completely relaxed. But that wasn't all. On Chen's other side, wrapped in a blanket, was Malaz, the ambassador's son. His tiny head rested on the human's shoulder. Both children were deep asleep, looking more comfortable than they ever looked in their own beds. "By the stars!" Commander ZYX whispered. Lieutenant Chen stirred slightly. His arm moved, gently adjusting to keep the children comfortable, but he didn't wake up. It was automatic, protective, like he was guarding something precious. The security team stood in shock. These weren't kidnappers. These weren't enemies. This was something else entirely. Something the galaxy had never seen before. Get the ambassador, Commander ZYX said quietly. She needs to see this. Should we wake them? A guard asked. No, Rodriguez said softly, looking at the peaceful scene. Let them sleep. Something tells me there's a story here. A good one. Within minutes, Ambassador Thelvara was rushing toward the human quarters, her heart's pounding with fear and hope. Ambassador Thelvara burst through the door of Lieutenant Chen's quarters. Her eyes were wild with 12 hours of panic and fear. But when she saw her children, she stopped completely. Kira and Malaz were sleeping peacefully, more peacefully than she had ever seen them sleep before. Their faces were calm. Their breathing was soft and steady. They looked safe. I don't understand, Thelvara whispered. How did they get here? Why are they here? Captain Rodriguez stepped forward carefully. Ambassador, may I explain? I think I know what happened. Thelvara nodded, unable to take her eyes off her sleeping children. Yesterday evening, Rodriguez began, your children were playing in the common area. They met Lieutenant Chen there. He was reading a book about Earth animals. The kids were fascinated. They asked him hundreds of questions. I remember, Thelvara said, they came back talking about dogs and cats and bears. Yes, Rodriguez smiled slightly. Chen told them how human parents protect their young, how we hold them close when they sleep, how we keep them warm and safe. Your children were very curious about this. Commander ZYX looked at the sleeping human. But how did they enter his quarters? Our doors don't lock from inside the residential section, Rodriguez explained. It's a human custom. We believe in open doors among friends. The children probably wandered here during the night cycle. Thelvara's voice shook. But why? Why would they leave their beds? Leave me. Rodriguez's expression became gentle. Ambassador, may I ask, how do your people sleep? Your species, I mean? We sleep in separate chambers, Thelvara answered. Each person has their own space. It's proper. It's civilized. We don't touch during sleep. That would be strange. And children? Rodriguez asked softly. Children sleep alone from age 3 cycles. They must learn independence. The room went silent. Everyone understood now. Ambassador, Rodriguez said carefully, humans are different. Human children sleep near their parents for many years. We hold them. We comfort them. Touch is how we show love and safety. Your children, she gestured to the peaceful scene. They were looking for something they didn't know they needed. Thelvara stared at her babies, sleeping in a human's protective embrace, a human they barely knew. Yet somehow they had found exactly what their hearts were missing. Tears began falling from all 4 of her eyes. Lieutenant Chen began to wake up. His eyes opened slowly, adjusting to the bright lights and the crowd of aliens standing in his room. For a moment, he looked confused. Then he looked down and saw the 2 small aliens sleeping against him. His face went pale. Oh no! Oh no, no, no! He carefully stayed still, trying not to wake the children. Ambassador, I am so sorry. I didn't know they were here. I went to sleep around 2,200 hours. They must have come in after. I swear I didn't. Lieutenant Chun, Thelvara interrupted gently. Please, breathe. You are not in trouble. Chun looked terrified anyway. I could start an interstellar incident. I could ruin the peace talks. I'm holding the ambassador's children without permission. This breaks at least 40 protocols. Lieutenant, Commander ZYX said firmly. Look at them. Chen looked down. Little Kira had her small hand gripping his shirt. Malaz was breathing peacefully, his head tucked under Chen's chin. Both children were completely relaxed, utterly content. They came to you, Thelvara said softly, on their own, because they felt safe with you. But why? Chen asked, genuinely confused. I only talked to them for 20 minutes yesterday. I showed them pictures of my dog back on Earth. That's all. Captain Rodriguez smiled. You treated them with warmth, Chun. You showed them kindness. And when they wandered in last night, Scared or lonely or curious, your instincts took over. Even in your sleep, you protected them. Slowly, carefully, Kira began to wake up. Her large eyes blinked open. She saw her mother standing there and smiled sleepily. "Mama," she said in her small voice, "look, I'm sleeping like human children sleep. It's warm. It's nice." Malaz woke up next. He yawned and stretched, completely unafraid. "Lieutenant Chen has a heartbeat like a drum. Boom, 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 boom. It helped me sleep." Thelvara's tears fell harder now. Her children weren't scared. They weren't traumatized. They were happy. Happier than she'd seen them since they arrived at the station weeks ago. "I'm sorry, Mama," Kira said. "Are you angry?" Thelvara knelt down beside the bed. She reached out and, for the first time in years, she touched her daughter's face gently. "No, little one, I'm not angry. I'm learning." The room full of aliens and humans watched in silence as something beautiful unfolded. Within hours, the news spread across the entire station. By the end of the day, it reached the Galactic Council. By the next morning, every species in the Alliance knew the story. The ambassador's children had gone missing. They had wandered into human quarters. They had climbed into bed with a human soldier. And they had slept peacefully, safely, held close like human children. The reactions were explosive. Some species were horrified. Humans touched the children without permission. "This is barbaric," they declared in council meetings. Others were fascinated. The children chose this themselves. What do humans know that we don't? They wondered quietly. But most were simply confused. Physical comfort during sleep was not common in the galaxy. Most advanced species had moved past such primitive needs. Children were taught independence early. Touching was formal, ritualistic, rare. Humans were different. Humans touched constantly. They hugged. They held hands. They embraced. They patted shoulders and ruffled hair, and carried their young until those young were practically adults. It seemed inefficient, overly emotional, weak even, but the evidence was undeniable. The ambassador's children had been struggling since arriving at the station. They were quiet, withdrawn, not eating well. Everyone had noticed. Everyone had worried. Now, after one night with humans, they were transformed. Kira laughed again. Malaz played with other children. Both started eating better, sleeping better, acting like normal, happy children should act. Ambassador Thelvara made a formal statement to the Galactic Council 3 days later. Her voice was steady but emotional. "I have been a fool," she said clearly. "I raised my children the way I was raised. Alone, independent, proper. I thought I was making them strong. Instead, I was starving them of something essential, something humans understand instinctively." She paused, looking at the hundreds of species representatives watching her. Humans call it physical affection. They call it comfort. They call it love expressed through touch. My people have no word for it. We abandoned it generations ago in the name of progress and civilization. Her 4 eyes swept across the chamber. "I request formal permission for my children to spend supervised time in human quarters. They need what humans can give them. And perhaps we all need to learn from this." The chamber erupted in debate. Some supported her. Others protested loudly. But everyone was talking. Everyone was thinking. Everyone was questioning what they thought they knew. The humans sat quietly in the back, watching the chaos unfold. 2 weeks passed. The Galactic Council was still arguing about Ambassador Thelvara's request. But on Station Harmony, something remarkable was already happening. It started small. One VRYNN parent noticed their child wasn't eating. The medical team found nothing wrong. Then someone remembered the ambassador's children. They suggested something crazy. "Maybe try holding your child during meals?" The VRYNN parent was skeptical, but desperate, so they tried it. They sat close to their child. They put an arm around small shoulders. And the child ate. Not just ate, devoured the food happily. The parent cried with relief. Word spread quickly after that. A Keltorian father asked Lieutenant Chun for advice. His son had nightmares every sleep cycle. What do humans do? He asked nervously. Chun thought about his own childhood. My mom used to sit by my bed. She'd rub my back until I fell asleep. Sometimes she'd sing. Sing? The father looked confused. Like, making musical sounds? Yeah, soft sounds. Gentle. It's comforting. That night, the Keltorian father tried it. He sat beside his son. He hummed a traditional song from his home world. His son stopped crying. Within minutes, the child was asleep. The father contacted Chun the next day. It worked. I don't understand why, but it worked. Chun smiled. Sometimes the best things don't need understanding. They just need doing. More incidents followed. A Thorian teenager was acting aggressive, angry, pushing everyone away. The human counselor, Dr. Martinez, did something shocking. She asked, "When was the last time someone hugged you?" The teenager stared. Hugged? I'm 16 solar years old. That's for babies. Come here, Dr. Martinez said gently. The hug lasted 10 seconds. The tough, angry teenager broke down, crying in those 10 seconds. Years of loneliness poured out. Captain Rodriguez started something new in the common areas. She called them human comfort hours. Any species, any age, could come and experience human-style physical comfort. No judgment. No questions. The first session had 3 visitors. Nervous. Embarrassed. The second session had 12. The third session had 47. Aliens lined up to experience something their cultures have forgotten. A hand on the shoulder. A gentle hug. Someone sitting close. Simple human warmth. Ambassador Thelvara watched from a distance. Her children sat in the middle of a group of humans and aliens, laughing and playing, surrounded by warmth and acceptance. She realized something profound. Humans weren't more advanced. They weren't more intelligent. They weren't stronger or faster. But they remembered something the rest of the galaxy had lost. They remembered how to care. 6 months later, Station Harmony looked completely different. The cold, sterile corridors were warmer now. Not just in temperature, but in feeling. Aliens who once walked past each other without acknowledgement now stopped to talk. Species that never interacted before now shared meals together. And everywhere there was touch. A VRYNN mother carried her young child on her hip, human style. A Keltorian father held his daughter's hand while walking. Thorian teenagers sat close together, shoulders touching, laughing at shared jokes. The changes went deeper than anyone expected. Crime on the station dropped by 60%. Medical reports showed fewer stress-related illnesses. Therapy requests decreased dramatically. Children of all species showed improved behavior, better sleep, increased appetite. The data was undeniable. Physical comfort wasn't primitive. It was essential. The Galactic Council finally made their decision. They invited Captain Rodriguez to speak before the entire assembly. She stood at the podium, a simple human among thousands of diverse alien species. You asked me to explain human bonding practices. She began. But I can't explain something that should be felt, not analyzed. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. My species evolved as social creatures. Rodriguez continued. We survived not because we were the strongest or fastest. We survived because we took care of each other. A human baby left alone will die, not from hunger or cold, but from loneliness. We call it failure to thrive. Our bodies need touch the way they need food and water. An elder counselor stood up, but we evolved past such dependencies. We became independent, self-sufficient. Isn't that progress? Rodriguez shook her head gently. Respectfully, counselor, I don't think you evolved past it. I think you suppressed it. And I think your people have been suffering for generations because of it. Silence filled the massive chamber. Look at the data from Station Harmony. Rodriguez gestured to the screens displaying statistics. Happier children, healthier adults, stronger communities. All because species started doing what humans never stopped doing. Touching, holding, comforting each other. She paused, letting her words sink in. You don't need to become human. You need to remember what you once were, before you decided that feelings were inefficient and touch was weakness. Ambassador Thelvara stood from her seat. I support a galaxy-wide initiative. Let humans teach us what we forgot. Let us learn to feel again. One by one, other ambassadors stood. Different species, different worlds, united in understanding. The vote was unanimous. The Galactic Comfort Initiative was born.